Welcome to the Romance Files, a podcast where hopeless romantics gossip about history's most iconic couples to find out what made them want to make sweet, sweet love. I'm Alfie, your hot trot host who's never been given flowers, and today I am joined by my gorgeous little sister, Embla, blah, 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 blah.
What a lovely intro. Hello, everybody. My name is Embla. I am also a hopeless romantic, and I've never been on a first date. And today we're going to be talking about the legends that are Antony and Cleopatra, what they found sexy, who came onto who, and why they were so dramatic.
So Antony and Cleopatra's passionate affair, culminating in their infamous deaths, echoes through the halls of romance fame. Shakespeare wrote a long play about it. Elizabeth Taylor starred in an even longer movie, and poets have written some long-arsed poems. Did they die for each other, or were they pushed to the brink by forces bigger than love? Were they star-crossed lovers, or was it a land grab from the very beginning? We're in the Mediterranean, 1 BC, Rome, Italy, Alexandria, Egypt. Have you ever been to Egypt?
Not to Alexandria. I've been to like the touristy, the tourist traps in the south.
Where's that? Is that the pyramids?
No. It's way far from that. It's like 8 hours south from that. It's all-inclusive resort with stuff that was child-friendly for my kids. But I did go swimming in the Red Sea. So,
oh, nice. Did you float?
Do you know what? I was so panicked. Like, I wasn't thinking about whether or not I was floating. I just was crapping myself because I'm not very good with the sea. I'd love to go to Rome. Have you ever been there?
I have been to Rome a few times, actually. I think it was like my first solo holiday. I went to visit our cousin. It's beautiful. It's full of ruins. People gesticulate a lot. We were like driving around on a little moped, and all the old ladies, like they were calling me a little doll because I was 17 and obviously I looked like I was about 12. But yeah,
that's so cute though. What a Roman experience, driving around on mopeds with people.
I know, and I had my first espresso in Rome. Love it, but you can't go anywhere without seeing a statue with its nose cut off or its legs cut off. Everybody's dismembered somehow.
That kind of rings true to this story, I suppose, doesn't it? Like the ancient ruins of Rome. Probably a lot of the statues that you saw were related to this story.
All the dismemberment and the violence.
Yeah, the extreme violence, yeah.
Yeah, so we're in, at this point, we're in the Roman Republic, which is kind of like a democracy, but not really, because it's ruled by rich men in the Senate, and only men, of course. And in Egypt, we have a kingdom, an ancient kingdom. When we get to Cleopatra, she's as far away from when they built the pyramids as we are from her, which is kind of mind-blowing. Been there for thousands of years. So she looked at the pyramids like they were just ancient monuments, just like we do. Romans, they're all about war and expansion and trying to get new territories. And Egypt at this point is a client kingdom of Rome. So they're really reliant on Rome to keep them protected. Inversely, they provide everything for Rome, so they have all the wealth. They're the breadbasket of the Mediterranean. They give them all the food and the money. In Rome, we have patrimony, and men are men and women are women, and women stay at home and men go out to war. And they have all these value systems. They don't like public displays of affection.
Think about how long that's then lasted for.
Right.
The patriarchy. It's gone from all the way back in ancient Roman times and still standing in some areas of the world, to be fair.
At the time, Egypt, even though it's patriarchal and men were in charge, the women were a bit freer. They could own their own businesses. They could like live in society. They decided who they wanted to marry and divorce. So that's a pretty big deal, I think. In Rome, at the time, divorce was quite easy, but it was more for men than it was for women. And Rome is for Romans. You can't have a baby with a Roman man if you're a foreigner. And they have a big dislike of foreigners. They love to create an us and them kind of thing. And Egypt is more multicultural. It's, there's a big population of Egyptians and Greeks and Jews. So I want to play a little game with you. First word that comes to mind. So I want you to shoot at me all the names of the main players in this story and I will
Okay.
try and quickly think of the first word that comes to mind. Yeah, you up for it? All
Yeah,
right.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, we're going to start with the Romans, right?
All right. Yeah.
Okay, ready, go. Pompeii,
Head.
Caesar,
Balding.
balding. Literally, Caesar salad, the most popular salad. Balding, interesting. Okay, Mark Antony,
Legs.
Octavian,
Legs. Octavian. Sallow.
Sallow.
Sallow. Like,
So
like
if we said
I just
Sally
imagine
there
him
for a
being
minute.
very unhappy all the time. But
Right,
that's kind of how he's portrayed in films, that he's this sort of sallow teenager.
such good vocabulary. Cicero,
Narcissist.
narcissist. Right, I'm not even sure if I'm saying these people's names right, by the way, just FYI. Plutarch.
Wrote a lot. So Cicero, I think it's pronounced, and Plutarch are sort of the main sources for the information that we have. So they're the ones that are telling the story, which is, we need to be aware of that, because whenever they're talking about Cleopatra, I don't like her much, or Mark Antony, actually. They both have a little beef with him. So when we're talking about this story, we're just talking about basically the sort of paparazzi, the Daily Mail, talking
Yeah,
about
they're like
Meghan and
the
Harry.
modern day Roman paparazzi,
Yeah.
written with feathers and sent by home in pigeons.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the Egyptians. Then we've got Ptolemy,
Tol-
12th. Ptolemy the 12th,
Oboe
the
was
pissed oboe
Cleopatra's.
player.
Ah,
Cleopatra's dad, the pissed oboe player.
yeah.
Cleopatra.
Eyeliner.
Eyeliner, good one. Arsinoe.
Little sister.
Oh, Arsenio, little sister. Phlebotomy, phlebotomy. Oh my God, wait a minute. Ptolemy. Sorry, I can't do the silent P's. Ptolemy, the 13th and 14th.
Annoying. They're her little brothers that she marries.
God, there's so many Ptolemies.
They're all Ptolemy.
Caesarean.
I can't think of a word. Caesarean. You think of one.
Difficult birth. The eunuchs.
The eunuchs. Dick. No dick. They were kind of like the people who raised the Egyptian kings and queens. So
Oh,
yeah, and they were eunuchs because they didn't want them to like sleep with them. So they were sort of like protecting the kids from being abused, I guess. I mean, that's really dark.
and the carpet guy.
Fun.
There's a whole story that goes into the carpet guy, the whole of
Yeah, we'll
Cleopatra and the
get to that.
carpet. Yeah, we'll get to that one.
All right, so just a little bit of backstory. So Cleopatra's father, Ptolemy the 12th, or the oboe player, he'd been exiled for taxing the Egyptians too much, and he'd been away for quite a few years licking Roman boots, and he owed Pompey quite a lot of money. And he came back with Pompey's help and killed his older daughter who'd taken the throne, and I think her name's like Bernice or Bernice. It looks like Bernice to me. And at the time, Pompey and Caesar are in a civil war. And Mark Antony is Caesar's trusted general. Let's get to Cleopatra. Cleopatra is born in 69 BC. By the time she dies, we're only like 26 years away from Jesus.
That's crazy. That's like nearly 2,100 years ago.
Yeah, that's
Wow.
mad, isn't it?
Yeah. To know that there's such a big story about someone that's over 2,000 years old is pretty mental.
I know, and a woman as well. Like, she's one of the only women that we really still talk about. Elizabeth I and some other Russian ladies. And I think she'd be quite happy about that. She's
Yeah,
infamous.
that's legendary status. Before
Yeah.
Jesus.
So she's really highly educated. She knows a lot about a lot. And I think she's kind of a nerd. And she even speaks Egyptian, which none of the other Ptolemy kings did, weirdly, even though they lived in Egypt, because they were actually Macedonian Greek. And so she comes from like a long line of Macedonian kings, going back to Ptolemy the First, who was a general of Alexander the Great. I'm not going to go into Alexander the Great. You can look that up, but he was
It's a
basically
big old story.
yeah, he was a hero to a lot of Romans who thought he was like the bee's knees. I mean, he went and conquered lands that they hadn't seen before. Um, Alexander the Great is in a tomb in Alexandria. He's named the city after himself, or his general did. And for Caesar and Pompey, that's kind of a big deal. Having, I don't know, some god or something, like a sort of resting place for someone who's really famous. I can't really think of anyone like that. I don't know, like,
So it's like super grand. I mean, I would just think of like the royals, Queen Elizabeth,
yeah, like who would
rest
you
in
go
peace.
and see their grave of? I suppose like
Elvis, for sure.
Elvis, yeah.
Yeah, and you
So
go to his
Alexander
little
the
house as
Great,
well.
like Elvis. um, and she is a woman in a man's world, and but she modeled herself on a goddess, and that's what they kind of did, the Ptolemies, to keep in with the Egyptian natives. They really took on the Egyptian gods and goddesses, and the most popular one at the time is Isis. And nothing to do with the terrorist group.
Yeah,
She's
disclaimer.
Yeah, disclaimer, we are not talking about terrorists. We're talking about the goddess Isis. She has big headdress, she has a rattle, she goes around being the fertility goddess, and is the mother of Egypt. The Ptolemies styled themselves on the goddess Isis, who was married to her brother. So you can guess what's going to happen to Cleopatra. She's going to have to be married off to her brother. In that line of kings, they were all married to their brother, sister, nephew, niece. Like at one point, I think one of the Ptolemies, he divorces his sister to marry his niece. It's pretty dark. There is some question about whether Cleopatra's mum was actually an Egyptian lady. Because she spoke Egyptian, and because apparently she had a real affinity with Egypt.
Oh,
So
that would
I
make sense.
And that kind of leads into the question that everybody asks and everybody has an opinion about, is what did she look like? Like, some
Mm.
people say that she was African, she was dark skinned, she was Egyptian, but a
But
lot of
then the
it,
way in which she's depicted in a lot of like modern day stories isn't that way.
no, a lot of historians say, no way, she was Macedonian, she was Greek. So you imagine a sort of typical Greek person, tanned, big,
Mediterranean look. But then
curly
equally, like you
hair.
said, if no one recorded women's history, then we don't know anything about her mum. We just know about the lineage of men in her family, right?
Exactly.
So
Like they,
obviously, with that, is a big gap in the ancestry.
it's a bit weird, isn't it? Like, because in our day and age, you're more likely not to know who the dad is, which makes more sense because they don't give birth to the child. Like, they just didn't record
Yeah,
who people's mum because it wasn't as important.
yeah, exactly. It was more. Sorry, we're a little bit obsessed with ancestry because we are originally from Iceland.
You
We can
know,
basically put our names into this website, and it shows our family line back to like the 1400s. So all Icelandic people are a little bit ancestry curious.
yeah, like the main question that somebody asks you when they meet you is, whose are you? And then you
Whose are
kind of,
you? Yeah, who do you belong to? Like,
yeah,
whose lineage do you belong to? And that's just a normal thing for us. But having grown up in the UK since we were 2 and 4, we don't really know who we belong to as well as they do, maybe. Obviously, we're thinking about what she looks like because we don't know who her mum is. I've seen loads of different, in my TikTok studies of this subject, I've seen loads of different kind of like depictions of her. I think the most famous one is obviously her with her black eyeliner, like gold and purple and black eyeliner, and that kind of Mediterranean
yeah.
looking lady.
So we think more about like her makeup and her costume than we do about, obviously, you think about Elizabeth Taylor, Cleopatra. Obviously, she didn't look like Elizabeth Taylor, but that kind of idea that she was super beautiful
And slim.
and
That
slim.
wasn't that. I mean, being that slim is definitely a more modern fashion with regards to what men find sexy.
Weirdly, in these times, the Roman look was, in all their statues and stuff, women should have wide hips and small breasts. And that was the sexy thing. And I tried to look up what was sexy in Egypt, and it didn't really come up with anything. Maybe they weren't that obsessed with one kind of idea of being sexy. And it's kind of interesting because, the Romans are making all these statues of what should be the most sexy thing. the modern equivalent of us looking in magazines of what should be the sexy thing.
Yeah.
Whereas if you don't have that kind of image of what you should look like, maybe you're not that obsessed with what you should look like. There's pictures of her where she has red hair. There's pictures of her where she's actually quite chubby and big.
And like a really long nose.
Yeah, there's the coins that were printed of her, and she has kind of a hooked nose and a sloped forehead and like a pointy chin, and she has like more masculine features. And I read somewhere that was maybe just to make herself more sort of like a king, styling herself on like somebody.
Well, yeah, I mean, if everything was a man's society, right, then you'd want to look more maybe masculine for that reason.
Yeah. But some historians say that she was maybe just quite plain looking and probably quite chubby, because it was the Ptolemies were quite into their food and drink and partying. She had an uncle who apparently was really big, and he'd ordered see-through garments from China, like the sort of finest silk, but he'd just like sit around. I could just imagine him eating KFC out of a bucket. Everybody agrees that she was definitely charming. She had a sparkling presence and a delicious voice. I mean, I'd rather
something that I saw recently, also on TikTok studies. What did Cleopatra smell like? Apparently she smelled amazing, and they're trying to figure out, there is actually some hieroglyphics that she smelled amazing, and now they're trying to figure out like what is the modern day version of her perfume, which is quite jokes.
That's amazing. Like,
yeah.
And I think I'd rather smell amazing and have like a delicious voice than be some sort of like beauty standard. And when you're the queen, who gives a fuck? Like,
yeah, I mean, also beauty standard in that time is wide hips, small breasts, right? But then also being bigger is an indication that you've got money to eat, isn't it?
Right.
So the like health is wealth. In our day, you'd be like big hips, or fat is wealth.
Yeah, and like I can do what I like. I'm the queen.
Yeah.
Fancy me, don't fancy me. I've got people who
I'll kill you.
Yeah.
Fancy me, don't fancy me. Whatever.
I will dismember you. She was a style icon. When she went to Rome, she made a fashion for braids. So apparently there was this hairstyle that all the Roman ladies started doing after she left, which was like a row of braids that were knotted in a cornrow style and then bun at the back, which I think sounds really cool.
Pretty iconic.
And the ancient Egyptians, they loved beauty. They were really obsessed with taking care of themselves. They had donkey milk baths. So milk and honey. I don't know if I like
It's quite
smell.
jokes that there's like someone's job is to go and milk the donkeys to fill up Cleopatra's bath. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're a donkey milker.
And maybe they didn't even have taps. They just had the donkey chained.
Or just like chained next to the bath. Like, come on. Yeah. Sorry, babe, it's going to be about another couple of hours. Have a cup of tea. Just, this one's a bit dry. How many donkeys?
That sounds like a nightmare, but also, like, where would it shit? I bet there was someone just collecting its shit in their hands.
Probably like another beauty regime or something. Do you know what I mean? Donkey manure.
Yeah. Donkey manure, put it in your shoes, and your feet will be gorgeous.
I've often thought about how stinky people probably were back in the day. Do you know what I mean?
I don't really use deodorant. Am I stinky?
No, you're not. Maybe your body's just used to it. But I'm talking like proper toothpaste and like donkey milk baths. Like, can you imagine? It's gone off milk. You just smell like gone off milk. That was her perfume. Gone off milk. Then obviously you've got the eyeliner, legendary. Do you know that's definitely a big part of it, isn't it? Like the Cleopatra look is like the eyeliner and the gold and the purple and stuff like that. And like she definitely must have had her own MUAs and hairstylists and stuff like that.
And she wore wigs like every day. So she is basically the Kylie Jenner or the Kim Kardashian.
That day. Yeah, she's like the originator. That kohl eyeliner though? That still is a thing. Proper kohl eyeliner is still a thing.
Yeah, what is it actually made of? Mum got me some from India, and it was like bigger than normal eyeliner, but it felt the same.
This just kind of gives us an excuse to go to Egypt, babe, to be honest. We're going to have to
Yeah.
further our studies.
Somebody
Research
pay us.
project.
Let's get to Mark Antony, Marcos Antonios. Not the Latin singer, but he is fit. Fit. He's got a playboy reputation. He says he's descended from Hercules, and Hercules had, lion skin, was obsessed with lions. And apparently there's like a legend that Antony went around in a carriage pulled by lions and wore lion skins to
Pulled
remind
by
everyone.
lions. I feel like a little bit of this might be a little bit like extravagant. Do you know what I mean? Where they've written about the men like carriage pulled by lions.
Yeah.
Those poor people that have to get the lions out of the cage every morning to get them attached to the carriage. Like, you'd be shitting yourself, wouldn't you?
Every day, just like, all right, come on, here, kitty.
Yeah, exactly. But he's like the old school Hugh Hefner, isn't he? He's the playboy.
I feel like he's a playboy bunny. I feel like
Yeah.
like he shaves his legs. He's really into himself, fit but don't you know it kind of, guy. He's apparently has like a thick head of curls and broad shoulders, and they call him bull necked, and he's just ridiculously handsome. He's like who's that in Beauty and the Beast, the one that loves himself?
The beast. Gaston.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he has a reputation for sleeping with other people's wives. He sleeps with queens all over the gaff, all over the East. So he's not, he's not a good boy. He's definitely a bad boy.
Got a reputation.
He has a reputation that's lasted all the way to this day. He was from a noble family, but his father was a little bit of a gambler, put him in a lot of debt. And that debt moved on to Antony when he died. His mum was Julia, a noble woman, and that's where he got this like noble family line. And she was actually apparently a cousin or some sort of distant relation of Julius Caesar. So Antony was known for his extravagant lifestyle. Like, he loved a bit of gambling just like his dad. And he was known for traveling with musicians, concubines and actors on his military campaigns. And actually after Pompey...
What are concubines?
Concubines, like people that I want to say sex workers, but I don't think they really are. They're women that you can't marry, that are maybe not as noble as you, so you can't marry somebody outside of your same class. And after Pompey dies, he buys his home and turns it into a pleasure palace. So he has loads of parties there, and you can imagine him having orgies and just
Debaucherous parties.
Debaucherous.
I love that word.
Like, I was just thinking, what would Antony's Tinder profile be? Would he be like one of those guys with a big fish?
No, he'd definitely be a gym selfie guy. He would be the epitome of the gym selfie guy, just with lions next to him instead of like, do you know what I mean? He'd be there like with all his Roman gear on and his Roman sandals, taking a selfie with the lion in the background.
Yeah. Kissing his biceps.
And he'd be like one of them full-blown, ready to ghost you type guys. Been on 1,000 dates. Like, copy and paste all of his messages. Do you know what I mean?
God, yeah.
One of them ones where it's like, can't really be asked to get to know anyone individually. Let's just copy and paste it, and then
what would he be like with really horrible pickup lines?
Yeah, like cringy as hell. Because he knows he can get away with it because all the girls fancy him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. He doesn't have to make an
He's
effort.
not much of a good looker. He's like, I don't really need to have any chat. Just copy and paste. Like one of them really cheesy chat up lines, like, oh, about angels and stuff like that.
Oh, that you fell down from... Did it hurt when you fell down from heaven or something stupid like that?
Yeah. 100%.
So, unfortunately, we can't really talk about Mark Antony without talking about Caesar. Just going to go on a really quick rant about Caesar because... So, circling back to Alexandria... Cleopatra and Ptolemy, her little brother, are put on the throne after their dad dies, and they have a big sibling rivalry. At first, she's just like, I got this, guys. I'm in charge. And she doesn't even let him sign any papers. And she's just like, takes charge. They
I mean,
end up
she's
having
his older sister, right? She's like, what, at this point, she's 16 and he's 10. 10,
yeah,
10-year-olds just don't really need to be ruling an empire at that point.
no, exactly. I think she's about 18. But yeah, she starts like having a bit of Barney with him. And they're, eventually she goes into hiding because she kind of gets run out of the city. Pompey turns up because he's had some big fight with Caesar, and Ptolemy thinks, or whoever's advising him thinks, it's a good idea to cut Pompey's head off and give it to Caesar as a present. And say like, "Oh, we're with you." Caesar arrives to Alexandria, is presented with this cut off head of his, I think he was his son-in-law, and he's just like, "That's guys."
So they're doing it basically to try and pledge allegiance with Rome and Caesar. And he's like, oh, I think you misunderstood our relationship. That's awkward.
That's so awkward. Caesar is there in Alexandria, and he's like, "What the fuck? This is all like a bit chaotic," and he's not into it. So Cleopatra sees her moment. She sneaks back into Alexandria, and legend has it she sneaks into Caesar's room in a carpet.
That's a pretty funny one, isn't it? Do you remember in the film where what's her name?
Elizabeth Taylor.
That's the one, Elizabeth Taylor. So we watched the film 4 hours, the Cleopatra film, available on Amazon Prime. You pay for it, and we did it in 2 sessions because it was so long. It was really funny, that one scene where she comes in a carpet. So Caesar's in a room with his 2 guards, and there's a knock on the door, and it's a Egyptian guard, right,
yeah,
or whatever. And he comes in with a carpet, and he's like, "I've got a present for Caesar's eyes only." So he's like, really insists that it's Caesar's eyes only, and like making out that it's just this carpet that is his present from Alexandria or whatever. And they obviously get defensive straight away. So Caesar's guards are like holding a dagger, and the Egyptian guard's like, "No, guys, really, it's just a present for Caesar."
It's a
And
carpet.
like, "Yeah, I promise you, it's just
really
a carpet, like proper well-made carpet. Like, we should love to have you here."
I really want
And,
to put it down now.
Yeah, like, it's getting a bit heavy, guys. Can you just evacuate the room? This is for Caesar's eyes only. Really important. And so Caesar then takes the dagger and is like, off his mates, and is like, "Go on then, off you chap, guys. I'll take care of this." Shuts the door. The Roman guard like just puts the carpet down, and out comes Elizabeth Taylor / Cleopatra, really dramatic, like, oh, been in there for ages. And I mean, if she is not the size of Elizabeth Taylor, like they are saying that she is in the legend, can imagine that poor guard been holding her that whole time. Out she rolls, and straight away gets into trying to charm Caesar's Roman sandals off.
My favourite bit is like he puts the carpet down and Caesar turns it over without opening it and goes to stab her, and the guy's like, "No, no, no, no."
So dramatic. Imagine making that whole journey with the carpet in your hands, and then he just kills off the queen.
Right.
So awkward. What
You
would
get
you go
blood
home
all
and
over the
say?
carpet.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
Oh my God. Stains on a carpet.
So that's their first kind of like meet and greet, because she wants to knowing that Caesar's in Alexandria. She's like, right, here's my opportunity. He's obviously a very wealthy, well-known general, dictator of Rome.
He's not quite a dictator. Roman Republic made 3 people sort of in charge, and he was one of them with Pompey. But then they were having a fight. He becomes a dictator a little bit later. But Cleopatra sees the opportunity. The carpet is kind of a legend, but maybe she came in a sack. I don't see the difference. I think the carpet's a fun thing. She quickly becomes his lover. I mean, they have a lot in common. They're both really intelligent. And she is a charmer. She sees her opportunity in this 52-year-old balding epileptic womanizing war hero, and just charms the fuck out of him. She's 18, 20, whatever she is, and she's probably not as sort of like ridiculous as Elizabeth Taylor is, but like you made the point earlier that she was probably acting this sort of like very womanly, victimy kind of person to try and,
Yeah.
cater to Caesar's
It does
fantasies.
say that in some of the script is like that she kind of edited the person that she was to be a more vulnerable woman, which is what obviously the Romans wanted, in their patriarchy for women
Right.
to be. So she was trying to become this vulnerable person that just needed saving, when in reality she was thinking 5 steps ahead. She
Right.
was like, sweet, this is my opportunity to kind of like keep Egypt going and
Yeah. Yeah,
see my people
and
through.
like he probably likes the idea that a queen needs him.
Hmm.
Then they're like kind of holed up in Alexandria because a civil war starts, and the Alexandrians aren't really that happy. There's a siege, and in that time, Cleopatra gets pregnant with Caesar's son, and I mean, I bet he fucking loved that. He didn't have any sons, and he probably thought, all right, bit of me in a
Yeah, I mean, it
queen.
seems like he actually really was quite fond of
Take
her.
Yeah, it does seem like that. He stays there longer than he has to.
And I mean, obviously, in those times, having a male, having a son as a successor, the complicated part of it is that he's Roman and she's Egyptian, so
Yeah, right. And like we
um,
said before, Romans, they
didn't
don't.
miss out of their own.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's all a bit gross, isn't it? Meanwhile, Roman Republic is in chaos, and guess who's in charge? Caesar's left Mark Antony in charge.
Mm.
He has to get back, and Arsinoe, the little sister, and Ptolemy, they've waged some sort of like coup against Cleopatra, started all that shit again. And Caesar's like, right, arrests Arsinoe, takes her to Rome.
Sorry, who's asking away? I suppose.
She's Cleopatra's little sister who is
Right.
obsessed. Well, Cleopatra and her had fled together before, but obviously they don't get on, even though they're really close in age. And Arsinoe tries to take the throne. I think the Egyptians are they're all just obsessed with power. They all
Yeah,
want to
yeah,
be
sounds like
queen.
it. Hmm.
And so Caesar arrests her. Ptolemy, her little brother, who's the king, he apparently drowns while dressed in gold armor while he's fleeing. And
Mm.
so Caesar leaves and returns to Rome. He parades Arsinoe as a prisoner but doesn't kill her, which will become important later because she tries again to take the throne. So I'd imagine that Cleopatra would be pretty pissed off. All right, you got me pregnant and you've left and you didn't do the one thing I asked you to do, which was to get rid of my little sister.
You're off. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And yeah, so he's gone. Cleopatra gives birth, and about a year later, she travels to Rome, and it's pretty scandalous. Cicero doesn't really like her, or
Cicero, the Roman paparazzi guy.
one of the paps, yeah, and he's a bit of a narcissist. Like he talks a lot about himself, and apparently she didn't bring a book from the Library of Alexandria that he wanted, and just kind of snubbed him a little bit. So he basically went on for the rest of his life to say what a bitch he thought she was. He's quoted as saying, "I detest the Queen." Like he's annoying, Cicero.
If that is a true story, he's got quite a short fuse. Do you know what I mean? He's like
Right?
that kind of stuff reminds me of like modern day social media trolls.
Yeah.
One of your favorite music acts has done something, and then you just won't let it lie, and you're just gonna make their life hell on socials,
Right. Like
and you
he's
can never
pretty
like have your mind
thin-skinned.
changed.
Yeah. Yeah, like a sort of like leader of the beehive or something.
Cancel
Like
culture, it's
yeah.
cancel culture, circa before Christ.
Yeah. So Cleopatra goes back to Egypt, and then she comes back to Rome not that long after. And Caesar must like hold a candle for her because he erects a golden statue of her in the Temple of Venus, which sets all of the, trolls off talking. They don't like that. They think that he's trying to be like a king or something. which he kind of is because he makes himself
Yeah.
dictator for 10 years.
They're both kind of trying to get their own statures a little bit higher in their societies, aren't they? So this coupling up
Yeah.
between them is definitely a bit of a power play.
Yeah. But he never says that Caesarion is his son, not officially. I guess he thinks that might just piss the Romans off, but and he's trying to, rule everyone. But it's he's a bit of a he says that he does things that he doesn't. He created the calendar. No, he didn't. The Egyptians created the calendar. There was a guy in the Library of Alexandria that created the calendar. It wasn't 12 months at the time. It was like 10 months, and they'd got it all a bit confused, and it was all getting a bit confusing. And Caesar goes, I know, I'll make it 12 months. I thought of that. And he's like, oh, did you?
Yeah.
But yeah, I did.
Is it a man thing? I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe they just have really short memories.
Yeah.
But anyway, he pisses everyone off in Rome and they assassinate him. They stab him 23 times.
Caesar.
Yeah, he does become a salad.
He's gone. He does become a salad. Maybe that's where the
Poor
name
little
came
Caesar.
from.
So, in the will, does he give Caesarion anything?
No,
Does he
he
give
does
Mark
not.
Antony anything?
Nothing at all.
No. Octavian. Who's Octavian? He's just like his nephew lives on a farm somewhere.
Some random geezer that got brought up in a farm.
Yeah.
Nephew, then what? Because he gives his will to him. It's like his adopted son.
Yeah, he adopts him as a son because he doesn't have any children. Oh, he has girls, but obviously they don't count.
So he's obviously got a son with Cleopatra, but he can't.
Cleopatra's actually in Rome when this happens. Can you imagine how horrible? You're just like hanging out in Rome with your boyfriend, trying to make him say that your son is his son.
After he's just erected a massive gold statue of you. Do you know what I mean? Like,
And then he gets stabbed 23
love
times.
bombing.
And Mark Antony makes a big show of his funeral and does this apparently really great speech and, shows all of his wounds to the public and sort of starts a bit of a riot. And Cleopatra has to almost escape, really. She's 26 years old. She's vulnerable. She's isolated. She's hitched her carriage to the wrong donkey, or at least the overconfident donkey who's trying to be a horse. I don't know where that metaphor is. But apparently she's pregnant on the way back to Egypt and she must miscarry. Yeah, so that's pretty sad. But when she gets back to Egypt, she's feeling pretty grumpy, and she poisons her other little brother who is in succession for the throne, and
Ptolemy the 14th.
Gets rid of him, and makes Caesarion her co-ruler. So she's living the single mum life, got rid of all her, rivals, apart from Arsinoe, who is annoyingly not dead.
Her sister. So her and her son take over ruling Egypt.
Yeah.
Which is, that's quite nice, isn't it? And he was probably being taught by those people how to be a king and stuff like that.
We spoke about Caesar more than we would have liked. So I'm thinking maybe we make this a two-parter.
There's so much to be said.
So much more to be said. And we haven't really even got to Antony yet, apart from his legs. So thank you so much for listening to our very first podcast. So thanks for tuning in to the Romance Files, and give us a cheeky little follow wherever you're listening. We are on Instagram at the Romance Files Podcast, and you can send your love letters to the Romance Files Podcast at gmail.com. Thanks, darling.
Don't forget to join us for part 2.
Love you. Bye.
Love ya. Bye.
I'm feeling